Yo, what's the most badass line you've heard your players say? I'm playing a warlock and just discovered that my character's patron tricked him into a bargain by destroying his boat, throwing him into the sea, and then offering to save him. As he's describing the events to his allies, his patron forcibly silences him and pulls him into a mindscape to intimidate him. But it's here where he realizes he's actually in a position of power, and I deliver the following line. I don't know what you can do, but you chose me, which means that you need me. So you and I are going to bargain, or I can throw away this book and never use my powers again. My character was a shipwright who had no interest in adventuring until his now patron forced the pact upon him and threw him onto another continent and into the company of adventurers. He's just some guy telling a god spawn to sit the fuck down. I felt awesome in that moment. Us D&D players can never really get enough. Whether you play 3 times a week or once a month, part of you always craves more. We get our fix however we can, by watching short stories online, D&D live streams, Baldur's Gate. Well, allow me to offer you something new. The best available follows a party of new adventurers trying to make a name for themselves in hopes of being sponsored in a competition. Waterdeep's Festival of Heroes, which sees the chosen parties delving into the depths of Undermountain, risking life and limb to suppress the evils and monsters below to protect the city above. The Dungeon of the Mad Mage is filled with danger, treasure, glory, and mysteries yet to be revealed. Come watch the journey from humble beginnings into heroic legend as we adapt a campaign years in the making into an illustrated web series with art from Doodle Poodle, author of Tales from the Tables. We pride ourselves in converting hours-long sessions into smoothly paced episode with limited animation, music, blood, sweat, and tears. Get in on the ground floor of something great and join the Forever DMs table today. Link in the description. Not a party I've DM'd for, but by far one of my favorite badass moments while playing. An evil NPC really hates my character. She tries to kill him in a back alley under the cover of invisibility, fails, and the party runs into her in a temple they're supposed to stop from activating. She screams, "You're supposed to be dead!" And we drop into initiative. A big fight ensues, and she absolutely targets him. He has a lot of HP, but she still manages to drop him pretty low. At one point, she drops him to what would normally be death saves. Now, what she doesn't know, though, is that the party cleric had cast Death Ward on him right before they went in. He drops to one knee, then stands right back up, and she freaks out, yelling, "Why won't you die?" He looks her dead in the eyes and says, "Try harder." He nearly died for that, but it was so worth it. I got goosebumps. For context, my paladin had returned home to find it overrun by kobolds led by a giant warlord, whom he'd promptly 1v1'd, becoming the de facto leader of the lizards living in his home. He was almost ready to slaughter them too, until one of the kobold children ran up and hugged his leg. He immediately swore to protect these kobolds as if they were his family. A day later, our warlock comes up asking to kill and eat one of these kids because his patron requested it. He was obviously told no, but after meeting with me, he decided to do it anyway. The next morning, when we found that a child was missing, I busted his door down and lifted him by the neck. He began to beg for his life, explaining that his patron forced him to do it, also revealing that the patron was actually his father who ascended to godhood. My paladin told him, "If your patron demands the blood of children, then I shall deliver that which is most precious to him," before promptly beheading the warlock. Hey, father-son reunited! We were playing this really long campaign over a few years, and at some point my character, a human wizard, briefly ascended to godhood by mantling the combined belief of an entire continent in order to defeat the main villain of the arc. Anyway, the power wore off once the battle was over, returning him to normal. and we moved on to the next storyline. Quite a while later, like 7 or 8 months IRL, the main villain we came across was a fairly snooty elf who had stolen a divine artifact and was using it to smite all who dared challenge him. We'd run into him a few times and barely escaped. We lost a few characters in the process. Eventually, we managed to neutralize the artifact and render him mortal. And I dropped the line, "You may have stolen a little divine power, but I was a god." Then I dropped a fireball on his face, and he died. Hey, those cinnamon balls are great, man. After finally cornering the Archlich they had been chasing for years, both in and out of game, our ranger had the highest initiative and engaged in combat with these now legendary words. "I will end this here and now! This will be our final battle!" The irony was that the Lich had already caught them in a time loop trap, resetting them if they didn't manage to kill him within a set number of turns. The ranger failed every check that would have helped him recognize what was going on, so the player fully committed. Each time the battle reset, he repeated the battle cry. "It will end here and now! This will be our final battle!" By the time the Lich was finally laid to rest, he had declared the final battle, a total of 14 times. I was the player, but it was a high point for me, and the group thought it was rad. We were under contract to escort a nobleman and his entourage from the capital to his estates. What we didn't realize is who we were escorting at first, but my character had to operate under an assumed identity because he had previously led a peasant revolt and killed the lord's father. The revolt was due to egregious conditions. The new lord wasn't much better, of course. It had been some years, so it wasn't fight on sight, but I was a wanted man, and the nobleman's guards began to grow suspicious of my identity. Eventually, they all but confirmed that my character was the one who had killed the previous lord. We were certain they were leading us into a trap where they could leverage superior numbers to get the drop on us, and when they did, it was pretty brutal. At the end of the fight, with the new lord's guards mostly dead and his grounds beginning to burn, I had him at my mercy. He was kneeling and crying out, "I'm sorry. I wish I had been a better lord." To which my character simply said, "So do I," then took off his head. Same player on 2 different occasions, intimidating goblins and bandits. Goblins. "Creatures of Lamashtu, your god betrays you, for she does not tell you what you face this day. I am the Ripper. I am the Slasher. I am the last breath you take. I am your doom." All said with a booming voice and pacing that gave me chills. Now to the bandits. "You look like a smart fellow. You must be their leader. I would ask you to step aside. You see, I am a very powerful mage, and I am in a bad mood. If you don't get out of my way, bad things will happen. Something along the lines of me turning into an ape the size of a barn. Then I will proceed to use you as a condom while I gorilla f*** your friends to death." Normally, he was a very polite old man. "Hey, where's the cookies? Where's the cookies, you say?" "I have a condom the size of a bandit. What do you want?" This was me as DM, but it was so satisfying because someone went, "That's fucking metal as hell," and it felt good. The party was talking to the sister of the big bad. She had basically made something of her life and created the safest haven for those with no place to go. The big bad evil guy's sister was all about curses and monkey paws stuff, out for blood against the party and an NPC. The good sister was offering to help, and the paladin asked, "You know where this ends, right? Are you okay with the likelihood that we have to kill her? Is that what you want?" "What I want doesn't matter anymore. I wanted her to find her way back to me. I wanted to build this place with her. It doesn't matter anymore. She did what she wanted, and whatever is necessary is what shall be. My player's fighter is a prisoner gladiator, and fights are typically to the death unless one party yields and the master of the arena pardons them. And this doesn't happen often, unless the master has taken a particular liking to the yielding fighter, or knows it'd rile the crowd up more if both parties were left alive. After every fight, the announcer asks the victor if they'd like a new opponent, or if they want to go back to their cell. This fighter's friend, a super anxious cinnamon roll of a tiefling that everybody called Bait because she was useless in a fight, came back beaten and bloody after fighting a guy named Hax. She took the scimitar and shield the fighter had given her, and her bloody handprint was on the shield like a badge of honor. Eventually, the fighter winds up fighting Hax and is beaten soundly, but surrenders on the condition that they have a rematch 2v1, since Hax clearly needs the help. Hax came back with an archer, whom the fighter killed in the second round. Hax tries to put up a fight on his own again to no avail and yields a second time. The fighter visibly struggles not to kill the man who brutalized his sweet friend, and when the announcer asks if he wants another opponent, he wipes his sword clean on Hax's shirt, turns and says, "I'm done for the day. Don't bring him back if he's not ready to die." Now I can't wait for Hax's and Maze's third, and definitely final fight. I'm certain if Hax tries to weasel his way out, Maze will just execute him. During the final fight of a Civil War mini-campaign where my players were controlling two parties, one on each side, the Rebellion side was facing down the king of the failing nation, who had secretly been an ancient gem dragon in disguise. The Rebellion party consisted of an Aasimar Conquest Paladin, a Goblin Divine Soul Sorcerer, and an Elven Ranger. That's like the most normal thing here. The Paladin and the Goblin had grown particularly close. The Paladin was imperious and commanding, while the Goblin was meek and nervous, needing orders to follow. The Goblin, a healer at heart who disliked killing to achieve the Rebellion's goals, served as the Paladin's moral conscience, while he killed and conquered in the Rebellion's name. As the battle neared its conclusion, the dragon devoured the Goblin whole right in front of the Paladin. Well, the Paladin gritted his teeth, pointed his glaive at the dragon and said, "Congratulations! You just killed the one person in this room who would have pleaded for your life!" He proceeded to unleash his remaining smites onto the dragon, dealing a massive amount of damage. The Ranger ultimately delivered the killing blow, which was an awesome finish in its own right, but I'll always remember that line from the Paladin. A red dragonborn was part of a group assaulting a bandit keep. The fortress was large, with nearly 30 bandits versus the party. Understandably, they were trying to stealth their way through to the boss and treasure without alerting the entire keep. While moving from cover to cover, the Cleric slipped and fell, breaking their stealth and alerting a small courtyard of about, 20 bandits, plus a captain in plate armor. That's not good. Seeing the danger, the Dragonborn Paladin leapt down between the Cleric and the enemies, telling him to run. As the bandits gathered around, he challenged the bandit captain to one-on-one combat, knowing he would likely be overwhelmed and killed afterward, but hoping to buy some time for the Cleric to escape. Encircled and fighting toe-to-toe, the battle was a stalemate. Both combatants were taking massive damage but remained on their feet as the crowd closed in. However, the Dragonborn had a trump card. Earlier, he had accidentally put on a cursed ring, one that had dire consequences when removed, nearly killing him the last time he tried. When removed as an action, it cast Fireball centered on the wearer. The captain landed a critical blow, bringing the Dragonborn to single-digit HP. Nearly dead, but still standing, the captain roared at him, "Why won't you go down? Just die already!" The Dragonborn locked eyes with him and simply said, "As you wish," and removed the ring, killing himself, the captain, and every bandit in the camp at once. That's actually pretty darn cool. Hi everybody, Brian Von VA checking in after the vid. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, ring that bell, and if you want to do a huge favor to us, join our membership, but you don't have to. What you end up getting is early access to videos and some outtakes on occasion because, trust me, I am a stumbly, mumbly boy who doesn't understand how to pronounce simple words in the American English that we have. Yeah, it's just not so good. But it's funny and entertaining, too, because I really do get a little bit jumbly-mumbly. That said, we love you all. Please be safe, be happy, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.